Hi everyone, great to see you back today. What I'm going to do is briefly just review what your final manuscript should look like. We talked about this, I think, in the last class. I answered questions. I already talked a little bit about it in a video, but I wanted to just pull up a manuscript and quickly just go over what it looks like, even though this will be posted on Moodle. So you can pause this video any place you want to look at this particular manuscript, but Jessica West, one of my former students, said I may use hers. So I hope you're all doing well. Miss you lots, but let's go ahead and jump in. So here we have the title page has no header up here. It has the title in caps, then the wording that's required by, required by the college that you all have, and then we put your name and the date, May 2020. The next page now starts Roman numerals. This will be a blank page because the signature page will be in here, or you have the copyright. If you do have the copyright, just put your name in there instead of Jessica's and just leave that page too as is, whether it says signature page or the copyright, because we will change that out once we get the hard copies. Let's jump to Roman numeral page 3. This is your abstract. As we've talked about before, the abstract is merely a summary of your manuscript. You read tons of research last semester in Research 2. You've read lots of abstracts. If people don't want to read your entire document, they read the abstract. So just stick to the facts. It's usually an extended paragraph just like this. It rarely goes over 2 pages, and it just basically talks about what the manuscript's about. So that gives you an example for the abstract. Roman numeral page 4 generally begins the acknowledgments. Again, you can pause this video and read Jessica's acknowledgement. Your acknowledgement should really think about who has helped you get to this point, who's responsible and has really contributed to the fact that you decided to go back to school, that you're pursuing your master's, that you actually made it through a master's thesis. I mean, all of you, if you're writing, you're writing your acknowledgement, then you've done a lot of work. I don't know why this comes up. There it goes. So the acknowledgement is generally about a page. It could go to 2 pages, but it's generally about a page, and really keep it thoughtful and sincere, and you can be funny. I think the most important thing that you consider is that it is personal. Really think about, gosh, who really has helped me get to this point? Okay, moving on. Then we have the table of contents. We are still in Roman numerals. The table of contents is the only page in your entire document that is single-spaced. If you have a heading in the manuscript, then it gets a heading in the table of contents. So I would just use, for example, I'm going to post Jessica's up on your Moodle. Use the one that's here if you had trouble formatting, and just change what's necessary in yours. And most of your papers, these are going to be different. And then just always double check those page numbers before the final manuscript. So the table of contents usually is 2 pages long. So it'll take us to Roman numeral page 5 and then Roman numeral page 6. Same thing, your appendix should always have a title. So it's Appendix A, whatever your title is. Some of you may only have one appendix. Some of you could have Appendix A, B, C, D, E. Or you could have Appendix A. If it's a lesson plan, it could be 8 pages long. If it's some of you are doing the PowerPoint, if it's the PowerPoint, it could be 30 pages long. That's absolutely fine. Just make sure it has a title and it's in there. This now takes us to page 1 of the actual content of the manuscript. If you have trouble with pagination, going from the Roman numeral pages to now the rest of the document has traditional pages, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. IT was going to come into class and help those students who had trouble with it, with the documents. That is impossible now, and it's difficult for IT to solve this problem over the telephone. So what I suggest is you take this particular manuscript, take Jessica's manuscript, and section by section, leave the titles, but pull out her information and put in yours. So on this page, what you'll do is save the entire document, but take out her title, put in your title, and then take out her date, I think, which was 2018, put in yours. And then, same thing, put in your name there. Here, leave the word abstract, take out her abstract, cut it, and then paste in yours. Same thing here. Leave the word acknowledgement, pull out acknowledgement, put in your acknowledgement. I think if you leave something on that page, the pagination should be in place. I know that we tried it, and some students, like Giddy, you're coming to my mind. I have a number of my different classes are going to be watching this, so some students won't recognize Giddy's name, others will. I know the pagination went from Roman numeral, then it would, and I think maybe Pessy's yours did too. And then it would only do 1, 2, 3, 4. I think because we tried to do the entire document, but if you do section by section, it should be okay. So then once you get down to, same thing with table of contents, when you get down to the actual manuscript for pagination, for chapter 1, leave in chapter 1 in introduction. But then what you can do is if you make this super small like this, you can actually just highlight all this. You can see where it ends, chapter 2 here. Conclusion. Pull this out, and then you'll see when we come back up here, chapter 1 goes right to chapter 2. Then you can just paste in what you, let me stretch this out. Then you can just go back and paste in your own chapter 1 and do the same thing with each chapter. Therefore, oh, oops, I just lost me on this side. Let me see if I can do that. It probably won't let me, so I'm recording. I'm going to actually undo what I just did. So there we go. And let me just make this bigger so we can all see it. Okay, that's not working. All right, so back to business. So now we're back to text. So that's about pagination. If you need more advice, we can talk. You can email me, but I think that should solve your problem. Some other questions people ask me about orphans and widows. Orphans and widows, it's when you're left with one sentence at the bottom of the page. In academic writing, we don't like that. So let's say, for example, this particular student had something that looked like this. And her next paragraph just had one sentence. I'd say, ooh, that's avoid widows and orphans. And I would say, just drop this to the next page. And you'll have a lot of white space, but that's absolutely fine. Same thing, we don't like it if it's just one line on the next page. I won't fix that now. I just won't save it. If it's just one line on the next page, like this, we say avoid that, just one line. And what we do is you usually drop down a few more and then bring this up. So again, it's only it's more than one line. Rule is usually 2 lines at the end of the page. That's what we call a widow or an orphan. It's one line by itself, either at the bottom of one page, top of the next. Okay, so next thing, let's go on to chapter 2. So double check your page, make sure that your headings are uppercase. And every chapter begins on its own page. Double check that. So this is chapter 2. This is the lit review. And also, it's hard for us to find our own errors now. Even now, it's impossible for me. It's lucky if I find an error for you because our mind, we don't see it once we've read it once. That's why you need a proofreader. So I think we can go through this a little bit more quickly. So page, let's see. As I'm going through, you can look at this. Again, you can slow down this video and stop. Let's see, and then we'll get to conclusion. This is going to be chapter 3, methodology, same thing. Double check. Oh, chapter 4, double check things like that. I'm a highlighter too. It looks like Caitlin was too. She left her highlight there, so I'm going to remove that highlight, no color. That's great. So you always want to double check things like that. Usually I see something like that. And remember, long quotes, those look great. And then I think that should take us to chapter 5. There's chapter 5, conclusions and recommendations, same thing. All of you now have done your chapter 5. And then, okay, then your references begin a new page. It happens to be that Caitlin's chapter 5 conclusions, it ends at the end. There's a little bit too much white space here, so let's pull that up. Okay, so references. We'll check. They should be ABC order. As always, oops, scroll down. And remember, if it's a journal, sometimes you don't know it's a journal, but the journal is always italicized. So some of your references, I double check that. Make sure you make those changes. Your references are generally 2 to 3 pages long, what we have for references. Caitlin's, I think, is a little bit longer. She did a lot more research in hers. And, okay, here we go. Sorry. Oh, hers is quite a bit longer. And then after references, we have appendixes. Now, your appendixes, Appendix A, it should always have a title. Appendix A, hers is interview questions. Usually, it's Appendix A, colon, and then it would be, you could bring the title up here. So it's Appendix A, interview questions. If your appendix goes on to the second page, that's fine. So here, Appendix B. So Appendix B here is the consent form. You don't have to put your consent form. Caitlin did for different reasons. You will all have different appendixes. Again, some of yours will last. If your appendix goes to a second page, which many of you will, what you do is you do Appendix B, Control Copy, and it goes to, oh, rats. Boy, it does not like when I do that. And you will go to that second page here. And, oh, let me pause the video. I hear Henry coming. Hi. Are you coming down? So Henry's here. He's going to say hi to everyone.
Hello.
And we're home from
homeschooling.
And these are students that are in the Tuesday night graduate class with me and Daddy. So hi to those guys. You know all those people. And then the Brooklyn students.
I met them too.
You met all those. So we miss you guys a lot. We love you, and we'll see you soon. Okay, happy spring break.
Happy spring break.
Thanks for checking in. Bye. Love you. Okay, so the last thing is your appendix. If your appendix goes on to 2 pages or 3 pages, all you do at the top, oh, rats. All you do at the top is consent form. Here it is, complete thesis. Is, oh, rats, that's not the right one. Here it is. Consent form B, here it is. And it continues. All you do at the top is you put Appendix B continued, and there's Appendix B continued. Appendix B, it still's continued, page after page, until you get to your next appendix, and that just changes. So if your appendix goes from 1 page, just keep putting it at the top, continue, continued, continued. Okay, that's it. I miss you guys. I love you. I hope that answered questions, and we'll see you soon. Bye.